Now this is a deadly, deadly technique. Once you find a bed, folks, this little light jig, you can keep it in front of a fish until he can't stand it. He's got no other recourse but to bite it. They can't stand it. There he is. Come on out there. The first fish is going to be a little one. Little black crappie. Come on out of there. But that strike indicator went out of sight and quick. And the reason for that is that fish didn't even feel it. That's a little black crappie. That's a little bitty one. My. Certainly we can do better than that. Yeah, I'm telling y'all a fact. This little marabou jig right here is a killer when it comes to crappie. Well, good evening, folks. It's Richard Gene, the Fishing Machine. Beautiful evening here, Tennessee Valley. Can't beat it. The birds are twerping. It's beautiful out here. They're singing their happy melody of springtime. Now, I'm getting a lot of requests about finesse baits for crappie, some of my favorites. Now, the truth of the matter is, well, I don't have any favorites. There's many of them that I have used and have that I still use. Here's a good one. This is what we're going to do this evening. This is a Cabela's Pro Light jig. Now, this jig is olive green marabou jig, 1/80th of an ounce. Y'all heard right. 1/80th of an ounce. Light as a feather. And that is a size 12 hook that's in it. Now, this jig, when it's wet, the profile is going to be just right to catch crappie. I've already cut it down with a pair of scissors. They come, as you can see, focus on the bottom one, way too bushy. And that's for a reason. That's so you can take a pair of scissors and whittle them down the way that you want, the size that you want. Now for crappie, when they're on bed, which these fish are on bed, and let me add, they're really shallow. That's about the size that I like right there. Of course, it's going to be 25, it's going to be 1/3 that size after it gets wet. Really tiny. Now what I'm using is 2-pound test line, a strike indicator, and I'm actually a little bit too deep right there. I'm going to have to pull that dude down to around 11 inches deep. Because this is a very shallow lake right here. Now as far as rod, because of the little bitty hook that we're using, a size 12 is little. In fact, the average crappie hook that's in a jig is said to be a size 4, which is gigantic compared to this little hook right here. But anyway, I've got 2-pound test high-vis line tied to it. That's a Palomar knot. The reason I'm not using a loop knot, which I usually do anytime I use a jig, is because I'm wanting to get all the strength that I can out of that 2-pound line. Okay, but what's very important right here is a limber rod. This is a 6.5-foot sow belly rod, ultralight, as limber as a fly rod. That's what you want. You want a very forgiving rod, account of the small hook. This is living dangerous when it comes to crappie, folks. This is outside the box, way outside the box. A matter of fact, these little Cabela's jigs are found in the fly rod department. They're made for trout. They're made for trout. That's the reason for the small hook, not for crappie. Now I'm going to show y'all something that will save you a lot of fish if you decide to fish with this little dude right here. But let me say this, not only is it great for crappie, it's great for bluegill and shellcracker when they get on bed. But if you'll look at this line tie right here, this line tie is even with the top of the hook. In other words, if I were to take a small straight edge and plane across the top of that hook, it would be in line with the line tie. That's not good. That is a fault of jig head hooks. They need to improve that. That line tie should be as close to that ball as possible, where the lead is. That way the hook is towering above it, and you'll get instant penetration. But what happens if I leave that alone like it is? When that crappie hits that, he's going to feel the pressure right here first from me setting the hook. And he's going to open his mouth and blow that jig out. What I have to do to hook up with these fish is to get me a pair of pliers and bend. I can do it right now. Bend that hook up slightly, just like I did right there. Can y'all tell? It's bent up slightly at an angle. Now, when that crappie hits it, when I set the hook, it's going to be instant penetration. I wanted to point that out because that's very important. I don't want y'all to lose any fish. But crappie fishing is crappie fishing. You're going to lose a few fish no matter what. But that still is going to improve your hookup ratio. Also, for bluegill and shellcracker, if you decide that is a great bait right there to use for bed and shellcracker and bluegill. While we're walking, I'm going to go ahead and show y'all this. This is a strike indicator, and you just run your line through it. Now what I do is I tie a uni knot here and one right here. Now this is 2-pound test, the main line is, and I'm using 10-pound test right here on the double uni knots. That way, watch this, I can slide this knot down, okay, and the float will fall down to it, and the top one I can go down to it too. It entraps that that float, so you can adjust the depth that way. I just want to show that to y'all. Little trick right there, and it don't take but a second to tie one up. But let's go on right here. Now, it rained a whole lot and the water's high. Okay, very high. But we're gonna walk on over here and see if we can find us a crappie. Let's get this jig wet and I'll show you what I'm talking about. See, it was bushy. When I showed it to y'all, it didn't look like anything but just a ball of fur. But now y'all can see it now. See how small it is now. Now when I move it, now watch that strike indicator. When I move it, this water is not clear enough for me to show y'all. But when this enters the water, it'll flare out a little bit. And when I'm moving it like that, these feathers will look alive. That's what I'm trying to get at. But let's see if we can find some crappie here. But what I'm doing, I don't know if y'all can see that little strike indicator or not. It's small. I chose to use a white one so y'all could probably see it go under, but it's so small you're probably not going to be able to. I mean, it is little. And the reason why I'm using that is because it offers no resistance whatsoever to a crappie. I mean, they absolutely cannot feel it when it goes down. Shake, 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 and then leave it. Shake, 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 leave it. Marabou sort of undulates. I think that's the right word for it. That's a big word. There he is. There's a good one right there. Good crappie. If I can keep him out of the weeds. But I've got that drag light on purpose, just like I told y'all, to keep from ripping that little hook out of his mouth. That's a black crappie. No, that's a white crappie, but it's a male. Beautiful little fish. Ain't that pretty? I mean, beautiful little fish. Now, he was in that vegetation. Now, that fish is black. That's a male. And there's a bed right there. Now, these fish are just now, let's let him go, pulling up. Look at him, ain't that pretty? So, folks, I might catch another one right here and I may not. We'll just see. Let's make another cast. We'll come right down through there. Again. Shake, shake, shake. See, that marabou is just undulating like that. That's a big word. Look here. Oh, I missed one. Now, that acted like a bluegill instead of a crappie. Them big words like that's just a little bit too big for me. Let's try it right over there. I'm just working this jig right in between this vegetation. That crappie, them crappie could be anywhere, because they're just now really starting to pull up, so they could just be anywhere hunting a place to fan a bed, the males. But working a little bait, finesse bait like this, the slower the better. Now, you're going to get a lot of bites. Once you find the fish, if you'll slow down, you're going to continuously get bites. There he is. I seen that fish. This is a good one. This is a good fish right here. I seen him flash. We're just going to hold pressure on him. It's the little hook that I'm concerned with. But I've used little hooks all my life, so I know just about how much pressure you can put on a fish with a little hook. This is a nice fish right here. There ain't nothing wrong with this one. Come here. Quit. He wasn't too far out. He was about in the middle of that weed patch there, but part of his tail's missing. That's from probably an alligator a snapping turtle, excuse me. That's a white crappie. Ain't that cool, folks? To me, that's something else. I love it. Let's release this fish right here. Barely move it. Shake, 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 shake. That's all I'm doing. Y'all watch my rod tip. Little bitty. Now, I'm not moving it 6-7 inches at the most, and letting the jig relax back up under the float. That quivering is what does it. I can't stand it. It'll kind of scare you if you're not used to fishing with a strike indicator like this. It's so small that when a fish hits it, whether it be a crappie, a bluegill, or whatever, it'll shoot under like a rocket. It'll kind of spook you. But my suggestion is to wait a couple seconds before you set the hook. There he is. There we go. Boy, that crappie was deep in that vegetation. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Is that what they say? That fish is black. Come here, boy. black that fish is. Beautiful little fish. Got him right there in the tough part. Always carry you some forceps, folks, when you're dealing with these little jigs and little hooks. Okay, he wouldn't have come off for nothing. Beautiful little fish. Let's let him go right here. But he was right in the thick of the thick. There we go. Most of the insects, that's the new emergent insects or larvae that's hatching now, and water bugs that's in this grass are this color. They're either going to be black or dark green. They're used to feeding on little critters like that, especially this time of the year. So there's a lot of different ways to think about it and examine what's going on around you. There he is. Golly. That fish hit it and went to the left. Come on out of there. He'll finally unroot that grass, which it did. Just let them fight and they'll pull that root up. You see, you don't have to stress your light line or your little hook. There's a black crappie, a white crappie, male. Let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get my forceps on. Hold to him. Golly, that fish was hooked. That ain't a bad one. They ain't giants in here, but I tell you what, there's a lot of them. She's the illest old woman I've ever seen. There he, hey, did he hit it? Yep, there he is. He nipped at it, and I kept messing with him, and he finally committed. Quit. He said, I ain't gonna quit till I get ready. That's a white crappie. Sure is. Female. Look at there. That's a nice one. There ain't a thing in the world wrong with that. Female. She's going to lay her eggs here in just a few days, I guarantee you. Let's get her pliers and get her off. There we go. That's a female. Let's let her go. There she goes, right back from where she came. I'm going to tell y'all what, it's beautiful out here this evening. It's a blessing. Absolute blessing to be out here. Well, folks, I better get on out of here. It's getting dark. I didn't get to fish very long, but it's calmed off and it's beautiful out here. I did catch quite a few crappie, not no giants, but I'm going to tell you that's a very effective little jig to catch not only crappie, about any panfish, bluegill, shellcracker, stump knockers, red breast, long ears. The list goes on and on and on. It's just a great little bait. It's overlooked, no doubt, and it's just another way to approach fishing. I want to say God bless each and every one of y'all. Appreciate each and every one of y'all. I want y'all to know that. God bless each and every one of y'all. Hey, man. Whoa. Now I'm getting a drillage and finally. Drillage. And remember, go fishing when you can, because it's good for you.